Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles having borderline personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. I talk about my severe anxiety, depression. I talk about bipolar, schizophrenia, narcissism. I talk about all the different types of therapies out there: CBT, DBT, IFS, psychoanalytical, dynamic, and a plethora of other mental health issues. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I cannot give you a professional opinion or diagnosis. All I ask in return of you is please be kind in the comments. Please be kind to me. Please be kind to other people who comment. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on showing each other respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. Please hit that subscribe button on the lower right hand corner of that little box. So that way there, you will get notified of the next video I do. It's 100% free. So if you like what you see, please hit that thumbs up like button so I know what videos are popular and what videos are not. We are here on my deck today. This is my backyard. I love doing outdoor videos in the summer. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Why is it so difficult to make friends as we get older, as opposed to when we're young? To me, it's very, very difficult making friends. And I'm going to go into that and give my own personal opinions on this. And you can share yours. I always enjoy when people share about their own life. I don't, I'm not forcing anyone to do anything, to share anything they're uncomfortable with, but I always appreciate, and I will, if you comment, I will, answer you back. Think about when we're younger, we're in school. And we're in school all day, like 5 days a week, right? And we're thrown in with the same group of people in our classes, right? 5 days a week. That's a lot. Just like when you're on a job, right? That's why a lot of office affairs start, honestly, because people on the job are more with, their coworkers than they are their spouses during the week, that is. And 5 days a week is much longer than 2 days on the weekend. So it's like being thrown in with the same people day after day. It's very easy, and you're either going to the same school, taking the same classes, or you're on the same job, working the same projects or the same type of work. So it's very easy when you see the same people day after day and you have a common thread like school subjects or like work. It's easy to discuss those things and you form, a bond like that. Now, when you're older, you get busier. A lot of friendships end because, one person gets married. And this has happened to me when I went to college. I only went to a 2-year college, Mass Bay Community College. My best friend Julia and me were pretty tight in college. And in high school, I met Julia in high school. I believe it was my junior year. And we were really best friends. She probably knew me more than my other 2 girlfriends in high school, Maria and Cheryl. Maria and Cheryl didn't know me as well as Julia did, but I went to college with Julia. I didn't go to college with Maria and Cheryl. And also in college, I met my husband, Andrew. as soon as I started dating Andrew, I really neglected my friendship with Julia because I was spending so much of my time dating Andrew and over Andrew's house. Andrew had a big family over, he had like over an acre. His parents had over an acre of land, a large in-ground swimming pool with a diving board, a big water slide, a cabana where you change. I mean, like the works. And I spend my summers over there. And little by little, I didn't see Julia because then I got a job on top of that. I only got an associate's degree, and right after that, I got a full-time job. So between the full-time job and my dating Andrew and his big family having all these get-togethers, I mean, they were getting together like practically every other week. They would get together. So my time was, it was divided. It was divided between my future husband, which he became, and my full-time job. So between that and the housework, and the grocery shopping, all the things that you do just to live, I didn't really have much time for Julia. Now, Julia was single. I think she got over a very bad relationship. She had a boyfriend that beat her. So, she wasn't really, she wasn't as tied up with plans or things. Of course, she worked too. But she didn't have like this extended family, like I did when I was dating Andrew, or someone that she was very serious with. I saw Andrew practically back then. Well, I saw him all weekend, and then I might have probably seen him during the week too, and I was working all day, so it's very hard to fit in friends at that time as opposed to when you were younger. Now, I met my two best friends, Linda and Holly, at a park, the Hines Park in West Roxbury. It's off the VFW Parkway. It's across from the Bertucci's and the CVS there. And I met them when Austin was very, very young. So also when Austin was very, very young, as a mother having young children, I was involved in so much more. And you do find yourself, when you have young children, getting to meet other mothers and forming friendships that way. Because Austin took martial arts classes, so I think he was going like 2 or 3 times a week. I was bringing him to the park like 5-minute car drive away from me, at least a couple of times a week, at least. So I was going, to these places because I had a younger son, and I was involved in a lot more than I am now because I have, he's an adult. So I'm not taking him to the park or to martial arts, or, it might be Little League for you if you have kids, or it might be ballet classes, or, basketball practice, softball. You get what I'm saying. If you're a parent and you have young children, you're going to be more involved in a lot of activities through your child, and then you have a lot more opportunities to meet friends. That's where I met my friends, my two best friends, Linda and Holly, at the park. I didn't meet them the same day, but I did meet them around the same time period. Because first I met my best friend Holly there, and we formed a fast bond that lasted 12 years. Then through her, she started talking to this woman named Linda, who had a child my age, and Holly's son Michael was like a year older than my son Austin. And Linda's son was around the same age as, Holly's son and my son. And then Holly started talking to her, and because I'm best friends with Holly, I started talking to Linda. And then, my son was having a birthday party, and I said, hey, Linda, you can come up. I always invited people over my house all the time. I said, Linda, you can come up and, bring Joseph to Austin's birthday party. Holly's going to be there, So it seemed, because I had a child, And I met other women at the park who had children my son's age, and they, that became easier then, as opposed to now, when I'm not in that situation. My son's an adult, so I'm not meeting people through my son. But what's interesting too is when you get older, you're very set in your ways, and you want different things. And I'll give you an example of that. Linda tried to become friends with my other friend Holly, and Holly didn't want nothing to do with her. They did exchange phone numbers, okay? But Holly told me that Linda was like a leech. Now, was Linda like a leech? Not to me, she wasn't. But it depends on how much contact someone wants in their friendship. That's why those two women never became friends, because Holly said, I don't want to be a friend with Linda because she's a leech. Holly was the type of woman who only wanted to get together with you maybe once every few months, 3 or 4 months. Linda, different. She was the type of gal that wanted to get together every week. And she called several times during the week. I don't remember, this was, a while ago. And, I'm the type of person that, I don't like someone calling me every day. I don't like that at all, okay? I'm very busy between my writing and my videos and exercising, and I wouldn't want daily contact with a gal pal, all right? Now, I probably wouldn't mind if someone called me once a week, as long as it was a convenient time for me. But someone else might think that's too often, and another person might think that's hardly enough, Some gal pals talk every day, other people once a week, other people once a month, other people once a year. So when you're set in your ways, when you're older, if you two don't align up with what you want, and that's one thing, contact. How much contact? One person thinks it's too much. Another person thinks it's too little, and they feel neglected and abandoned. So it's not going to work out for them because they feel neglected and abandoned, like you don't want to be their friend. And like Holly, they'll feel like, ooh, that woman's a leech. She's bothering me all the time. I don't want to be friends with that. She's a leech, okay? So this is what I'm saying. When we get older, we get set in our ways. And there's only so many hours in the day, okay? And even if we really like the person, we're usually in a pattern where what's comfortable for us. It's just like when you have a boyfriend or you're married, okay? Say you're married, I don't know, X amount of years. Your husband wants sex 3 or 4 times a week. That's like my husband. That's not how I am, but say the wife only wants sex once a month. Now there's a problem, right? So the husband my husband has never cheated. This is just, I'm going to give you a hypothetical situation. So the husband will go out and cheat because he goes, geez, my wife, I barely get sex once a month. And I met this woman who will have sex every day, and oh man, I want her. See what I'm saying? When you get older, you get set in your ways, and you want what you want. And then if you compromise, which is, they say compromise, if you're in a relationship, you have to compromise. Then you start feeling like you're compromising yourself. Like like Holly, she's the type that didn't want to be bothered all the time. She would be happy to talk to me once every few months, okay? And back then I was fine with that. I had my life evolved around Austin's, karate class, and back then I was going to therapy a lot, and it was fine. I didn't have a problem with Holly's only wanting contact once every 3 or 4 months. That was all right with me. But Linda, it wasn't all right with, she'd be like, she'd tell me like, I tried calling Holly, but she never calls me back. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to tell her that Holly said she was a leech. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't hurt anyone's feelings, but it was obvious that Linda was too much for Holly, So even if you try to compromise, you might feel like, say Holly was to say, all right, I want, Linda's a nice, lovely girl. Okay, she was. Maybe I'll try to, talk to her more because she's calling me every week, Maybe I'll try to talk to her once a week. I'll make it a point to talk to her once a week. And then she starts talking to her once a week and starts feeling resentful, like, because she really doesn't want that kind of contact, This is what makes older relationships very difficult, because even when you do compromise for your friend, okay, you might be feeling like you're compromising yourself and your time. You might say, Holly might say, I like Linda a lot, but you know what? She wants to call me every day, and that's way too much. But if I don't talk to her once a week, she'll feel like, abandoned and feel hurtful, like I'm ignoring her. So I try to talk to her once a week, but sometimes I don't get around it. It might be once every other week, and then Linda will be feeling like, why doesn't she ever want to talk to me? See, they're on two different planes. See, even when they compromise, it doesn't work out, because when you compromise, part of you resents the compromise, because in compromising, you're giving up something, aren't you? That's what compromising is. I'm giving up something for the friendship, and the other person is giving up something for the friendship. That's what compromise is. But then, it doesn't always work out like that, because you get resentful for what you're giving up, The other person might feel abandoned, neglected, and the other person might feel like, I have to like always make room in my schedule for her just so she won't feel neglected, So that's it. That's really what happened between Linda and Holly. But I was fine with both of them, and I was friends with, they were my two best gal pals at the time. And, it was all right with me either way, whether Linda wanted to talk once a week, that was all right. I didn't want to be called every day. I didn't want her bothering me every day. If she wanted to talk once a week, okay. If Holly wanted to get together once every few months, okay. With me, back then, I could go either way. It was fine. They're both different. It didn't bother me. But then other things come up in life, and such as Holly getting divorced. That was a major, major thing that interfered with our relationship, because then she started dating someone. He was married. Well, I'm not putting my nose up or judging anyone, because I had a fear, so I am no place to judge a person. All I'm saying is she was like me in high school when I met my husband Andrew, and neglected my best friend Julia. I did neglect that girl, because I spent all my time with my future husband and his family. Well, the same thing with Holly. She spent all her, because he was married, he didn't have much time. He had young children, and he was married, so he didn't have much time to see her, So she grabbed onto, she was at his beck and call anytime he could see her, and therefore, all our plans went down the tubes. She didn't, make any time for the friendship. Now, I wasn't one who wanted contact every week or even every month, but like a year would go by and I hadn't seen her, and I say, hey, you bought a new house. I haven't even seen it. It wasn't like I was expecting a dinner or lunch or anything. It's just like, say you have a best friend and she bought a new house. Now, she's your best friend. You've been friends for many, many years, over a decade. Wouldn't you think that she'd want to invite you just to show you her new house? She bought a new house. Your best friends, not casual friends, okay? You've been to each other's homes. You spend holidays, Christmases with this person. You've been to their kid's birthday. They've been to your kid's birthday. You've been through this woman pretty much through thick and thin. When her husband cheated on her, you've been there. You know what I mean? It wasn't some casual friendship. So I was like, well, it's over a year. If you can't make any commitment to see me in 1 year, and we're supposed to be best friends, I just completely blocked her. I don't think that's asking too much, do you? In 1 year, even the President of the United States, in his schedule and family and schedule, whatever, I'm sure he sees his friends at least once a year. I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. But so that's why when life changes, when circumstances change, that's what can happen too. Then the relationships go south. But yeah, and when you're older, like I said, you become I'm very set in my ways. I have to admit, I'm very set in my ways. So I would try to compromise for a new friendship. But, people as they're older, it's not always so easy. Like when you're younger, and you're going to school and taking the same classes, and you don't have the responsibilities as you do when you're married with children, even older adult children, like I see my son Alex, my handicapped son Alex, on Saturday and Sunday. Okay, he comes over for dinner on Sunday, and we go over his place on Saturday. So my weekends are pretty much booked. So if I had a friend, I don't know what I would do, because I'm not going to neglect my son Alex, See, so because of life circumstances, it would be very difficult for me to have a friendship with someone, because they'd say, oh, I'm having a party on Saturday. Come on over. Sorry, I can't, because, I couldn't explain that to my handicapped son Alex. I'm in a situation where I have a very sick child. And I would never, I just couldn't do that, I couldn't blow my son off because my friend is having a party. I might enjoy seeing, going over there. She's having a pool party with all the gals. We're going to have cocktails. I have a pool. But I couldn't do that to my son because of my circumstances. So I'm in a situation where I have different circumstances, like responsibility toward my handicapped son, both Saturday and Sunday, and I would never neglect them. So even for a girlfriend, I wouldn't. I mean, Holly always understood that too. So I could get together during the week with someone. But see, as you get older, you get, more responsibilities, especially if you're married, especially if you have children, you have extended family through your husband. So you have your family, you might have your parents and your siblings or whatever, then you have your immediate family of your children, and then you have your husband's, your extended family of your husband's family, and then you might have a full-time job on top of that. So between all that, where's the time for, you got to make the time. But then again, it's tough. So that's what I have to say about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have trouble making friends, or you have trouble even with your existing friends, fitting them into your schedule, we can talk about that too.